The Boxes by William Sleator, Chapter 2. What was in the boxes? At school the next day, Friday, I ate lunch with my best friends Linda and Jeff. We usually ate together, though it wasn't only because they wanted my company. I also wanted kind of a screen. If they ate alone all the time, people would notice, and it could get back to their parents, and their parents absolutely did not want them to see each other at all. With me, and sometimes others there, it wouldn't look like anything special was going on between them. Today, Henry ate with us too. Henry lived close to us in the neighborhood, and he liked me. I knew I was okay, looks-wise. I have short black hair and dark eyes, and I'm in good shape. Henry's a nice guy, and good-looking too, but I wasn't interested in Henry or in any other boys my age. There weren't any who were as smart or as fun or as mysterious or as handsome as Uncle Marco. Anyway, Aunt Ruth thought 15 was too young to go out alone with a boy. We couldn't double date with Linda and Jeff because nobody could know they ever went out. So that was my excuse for not going out with Henry. But he kept reminding me that he was waiting for my 16th birthday. Annie, I gotta tell you what happened last night, Henry said breathlessly as he sat down with his tray. Uh-huh, I said, not paying attention much. I was thinking about the boxes. Curiosity about them was driving me crazy. Henry lowered his voice, though Linda and Jeff were giggling together and not paying any attention anyway. Around 9 o'clock, I went out to walk Fifi. You know, our bloodhound? Mm-hmm, I said, nodding vaguely. If I just took a little peek inside the boxes after Uncle Marco left, how would he ever know? And as soon as I got to the sidewalk, this car pulled away from the curb, Henry was saying. I didn't think anything about it at first, until I began to notice the car was going really slow, like it was following me. He stared at me, wide-eyed. Huh? I said. This car was following me, like it had been waiting there for me to come out. You sure you weren't imagining it? I asked him, interested enough now to stop thinking about the boxes for a minute. Yes, I'm sure. It was going slow, and keeping right behind me. I felt uncomfortable. I tried to make Fifi hurry so I could turn around and get back inside the house, but she took her time, as usual. I was sure glad she was with me, and I wasn't alone, though. If it hadn't been for the dog, maybe they would... Would what? He shrugged. Oh, I don't know. He seemed embarrassed to confess what he had been afraid of. It was just so weird, the way the car was kind of inching along right behind me, like it was threatening me or something. Finally, I pulled Fifi around and went back, and the car turned around in a driveway and stayed right behind me. That is weird, I admitted. And when I told Mom and Dad, they looked scared too. They didn't say much, but I could tell what they were thinking. Crutchley Development. Crutchley? Really? Henry nodded grimly. Crutchley Development was the big company that was on the verge of buying out the neighborhood to tear the old houses down and build a giant mall. They wanted our house and Henry's house too. Henry's house was bigger and older than ours, but his family wasn't rich. His grandparents had bought the place a long time ago. Henry's parents and Aunt Ruth were the last people in the neighborhood to hold out. Crutchley was paying more for the rundown houses than anybody else would. I was always talking to different people at Crutchley Development on the phone, so Aunt Ruth wouldn't have to. And they were getting ruder and ruder. The neighborhood was close to the highway, which made it a good location for a mall. You think a big company like that would use, like, gangster tactics? I said, doubtful but also uncomfortable myself. If they were targeting Henry, they might target me too. No other tactics worked with us or with you either. They really want the property. If they're going to do things like this, how are we going to protect ourselves? I don't want Mom and Dad or your aunt to give in. But if they thought they were in danger... Henry wasn't like Uncle Marco, but he was probably the nicest boy I knew. I didn't like seeing him upset, and we were in this together. They can't get away with it, I tried to reassure him. Aunt Ruth practically runs the bank, for one thing, and if anything like that happens again, we should tell the cops. They'd probably just think I was being hysterical, he said. The bell rang, to my relief. I was concerned about the developers. If Henry really wasn't imagining this, but I was more concerned about the boxes. I wanted to get back to dwelling on them in class. Maybe, maybe I could walk you home after school? Henry suggested. Not today, Henry. I've got to get home real fast today, I said. Maybe next week. Sure. See ya. Of course I had to get home as soon as possible today, because Uncle Marco was leaving tomorrow.